In Joplin, Jasper Products celebrates 25 years. I'm Kenny Foreman, and I'll have more on that coming up.
The fight for environmental justice continues in Miami. I'm Blake Gully. I'll have more from the 27th Tart Creek Conference coming up.
And Carthage Water and Electric opens its historic power plant doors for public tours.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A Joplin company is celebrating dozens of years in business, serving North America. This is KLEM News on Fox 14. I'm Samantha Walker. Jasper Products held a ribbon-cutting event, which included a proclamation from Joplin Mayor Kanan Cortez. KLEM's Kenny Foreman tells us more.
25 years ago, Ken Halbine and his brother had a vision, a desire to sell nutritional protein shakes that people would buy.
We were looking at the mega trend of convenience and nutrition, and the shelf-stable protein shakes that we make accommodate both of those needs. Convenience because it's portable, you can take it with you, it's shelf-stable, it doesn't have to keep refrigeration.
With that vision, Jasper Products was born. The company has grown for 25 years, now selling more than 1 billion packages each year with the help of a partnership with Dairy Farmers of America.
We feel like we're a big part of what makes Joplin successful as a community. The restaurants, all the other things that people go out and spend money on, goods and services. A lot of the payroll that flows through this operation ends up in the community.
Several employees have been there for 25 years.
It's a testament to the resilience of our community to have such a steady, stable company in our community. I think it reflects upon our community well that we are a good place to raise your family, get a good job, have a good income, and have a great quality of life.
Over the years, Jasper Products has managed to become a household name here in Joplin. They currently employ just under 1,100 employees, which translates to 1 in every 46 Joplin residents.
Almost all of our employees are area natives. They've come from this area, and the workforce has been excellent over the years, and that allows us to run an operation that's better than our competition.
Halbine says he's looking forward to more successful years. In Joplin, Kenny Foreman, KOAM News.
The nearly 3 million square foot facility currently ships 90 truckloads of Jasper products per day. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with the first look at weather.
Definitely turned out to be a cooler day for us on this Tuesday, and it's actually going to be kind of chilly as we get into tonight, really the next couple nights. So crisp fall nights, in fact, lower 50s, so it's going to feel the way it should in the month of October. Now, we do have some rain chances, not a lot, but some. Couple of little sprinkles Thursday, maybe some showers on Friday, and then we get toasty again as we head into the weekend. We've had the clouds kind of through the afternoon into the evening hours. Those are going to be breaking up as we go through the next several hours. Let me walk you through time as we get into Wednesday morning. 50 to about 53, which is chilly, but it's October. By noon, I think most of us 70 to about 72, and I think we'll top out 75, 76, 77 degrees. Of course, we're going to talk about those rain chances here in just a bit.
Thanks, Doug. For 27 years, the Tart Creek Conference has united community voices and scientists in the push for a cleaner, safer future. This week, the conference kicked off with a message of hope. KLEM's Blake Gully has more on the group's fight for clean water.
It's been nearly 3 decades of conversation and collaboration around Tart Creek's recovery in Ottawa County, Oklahoma. And this year that mission continues. Opening the conference, Miami native Joby Taylor reminded the crowd what keeps that mission alive: hope.
If we think about hope as only a feeling we're having about how's this going to go, or a kind of a prediction of what's going to happen, to this area, then we do place ourselves kind of on the edge of despair.
For organizers, it isn't just about what's happening at Tart Creek, but where that water goes next and how it can affect people along the way.
What happens with Tart Creek is it flows down heavy metals every day. They go into the Neosho River. That goes into the Grand Lake of the Cherokees. We're connected by water. So what's in the water can be in us. So if we're eating the fish from that lake, from these rivers, we can be absorbing metals that come from us, that gift that we don't want to give.
Over the 3-day conference, organizers are encouraging residents to stay informed and get involved, reminding them that lasting change depends on community voices taking action.
It is incumbent upon us to be able to go out into our own communities and to say this is enough. And that's what we want to try to do. We want to try to get people who feel that they can't fight, give them a reason to fight.
Reporting in Miami, Blake Gully, KOAM News.
The Tar Creek Conference continues through Thursday with various events, including updates from the City of Miami on the Grand River Dam Authority's relicensing. Residents in Carthage are getting a rare behind-the-scenes look at how their lights stay on. Carthage Water and Electric Plant is hosting public tours of its historic power plant on South River Street today. Each one lasts about 30 to 40 minutes and gives visitors a look at how the utility provider powers the community around the clock.
These historic engines that we have inside there, they date back to, I think 1941 is our oldest, and then earlier from there, but they're incredible to see, to hear them run. That's something people always enjoy, and we always start one up on these plant tours, so we look forward to that.
Tours began at 10 this morning and again at 6 tonight. The Carthage Public Library will close for about 2 to 3 weeks starting Monday, November 3rd. Library leaders say the closure will allow crews to complete front entrance renovations and ceiling repairs in the dome area where water damage made the space unsafe. During the closure, the book drop will be closed and patrons are asked to hold on to borrowed items until reopening. Free Wi-Fi will remain available in the parking lot, and e-books and online resources can still be accessed. Coming up, Democrats and Republicans hold their lines as the government shutdown impacts air travel nationwide.
Oh, there is more fallout now from the partial government shutdown. I'm Doug Luzader in Washington. We'll have more on that and the prospects of a deal coming up.
But up first, researchers say a hard-to-detect breast cancer is increasing faster than other types and needs more study. As we've been reporting, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. An American Cancer Society report released today says an estimated 33,600 women will be diagnosed with lobular breast cancer this year. Despite the prevalence of this subtype of breast cancer, researchers say it remains understudied. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to the report's senior author about the signs of this lesser-known disease and those symptoms that differ from other types of breast cancer.
It's a lesser-known breast cancer that develops in a patient's milk-producing glands, and cases of lobular breast cancer are on the rise in the U.S.
Most people aren't familiar with this subtype, and I think it's because the short-term prognosis is very good.
But Rebecca Siegel with the American Cancer Society says if there's a delayed detection of this type of breast cancer, long-term prognosis for advanced disease is not good. She's the senior author of a report that found there's a critical need for more research into this specific disease.
We need to distinguish this cancer in clinical trials so that we can find more effective treatments, because incidence rates are actually increasing quite steeply, more steeply than for other types of breast cancer.
Because tumors in those with lobular breast cancer grow in a linear pattern or maybe spread out, Siegel says they don't form a lump like other breast cancers and can be harder to detect during a mammogram. So she says women need to watch out for other signs, including nipple inversion, hardening of the breast skin, or dimpling of that skin. If these symptoms are consistent over a week or two, she says go see a doctor.
Adjuvant chemotherapy doesn't really work. So we need to distinguish this cancer in clinical trials so that we can find more effective treatment.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The researcher says the risk of all types of breast cancer can be reduced through healthy lifestyle choices, including maintaining a healthy weight, staying physically active, and if you do choose to consume alcohol, having it in moderation. The acting director of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is echoing President Donald Trump's message about MMR combination vaccines. Jim O'Neill has called on vaccine manufacturers to break up the combination shot. In its place would be separate vaccine shots to protect against measles, mumps, and rubella. Trump did not give a reason for calling for a breakup of the MMR vaccine. The vaccine has been approved as a combination since 1971. A new drug combination could give new hope to men with advanced prostate cancer. In a double-blind trial, researchers at the University College of London found their therapy delayed advanced stages of the disease where cells had spread to other parts of the body, and in patients with specific genetic mutations. An estimated 1.5 million men are diagnosed with prostate cancer around the world each year. And if you're having a hard time staying motivated, there's new evidence exercise snacks may help. Research published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine suggests short, mini workouts sprinkled throughout the day can significantly improve the cardiorespiratory fitness of most physically inactive adults. It's recommended that people get at least 300 minutes of exercise per week. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, President Trump and Canada's Prime Minister discuss trade tensions as unemployment rises north of the border.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a much cooler day for us today. In fact, most of us 15 to 20 degrees cooler than what we saw yesterday. Everybody's been telling me they're ready for October weather. We got it today, and we're going to have it over the next couple days. Enjoy it, because it's going to heat right back up this weekend. We've had some clouds kind of skirting through the region through the afternoon, evening hours. These are going to break up as we go through the overnight. So let me walk you through time. We're going to go into Wednesday morning. Look at our temps. 50, 49 Nevada, 54 in Grove, 52 in Parsons. So a little chilly to start. By noon, I think most of us are going to be near 70, and then I think about 76, 77 degrees. Our atmosphere is fairly dry, so it allows you to warm up pretty quickly as you get into the afternoon hours. All right, so we back down again into lower 50s as we go into Thursday morning. Now, on Thursday morning, we may get a couple random sprinkles or showers, especially on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. Most of us will be dry, smidge warmer, upper 70s for highs as we go into Thursday afternoon. All right, Thursday night into Friday morning, another weak wave is going to drop in that could give us some scattered light showers. We're not going to get much rain out of that on Thursday and Friday, but we have better chances as we get into next week. So I'm going to let this roll 1 week in advance. A lot of us are going to pick up quarter, half an inch, maybe an inch of rain as we go through the next week. And majority of that will be next Monday and Tuesday. Day planner on your Wednesday, 55 to start, 71 by noon. High temp, 76 degrees. And let's jump forward. Let's go into four-state Friday night high school football. Temperature is fantastic. 75 by kickoff, 68 once we get into the fourth quarter. So no complaints this week with high school football. Reason it's a little cooler, upper level flow, a little northwest flow right out of Canada, right on top of us. And that's going to keep us nice for the next couple days. However, here comes a ridge of high pressure back in. This is going to be late Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that's why the 80s are going to return. I do want you to notice all this mess, the western third of the country. We have storm systems lining up, and we'll start to eject out. So the middle of October is going to be much more active than what we've seen over the past couple weeks. And then this system will push on by, then we kind of reload again the western third of the country. Let me take you into your weekend. So those showers, trying to work through Friday morning. Friday afternoon looks pretty good. Saturday we start to heat back up. So now we're talking mid 80s. Sunday we're talking upper 80s, so toasty, near 90 even. So it does heat back up as we go into the weekend. All right, let's go 76 tomorrow, 79 Thursday, 82 Friday, 84 Saturday, 86 as we go into Sunday. Sam?
Thanks, Doug. With this fall weather setting in, lawn care and tree experts remind homeowners to keep up with maintenance. Noel Boyer's tree company just finished cleanup from April and June storms, and now he's seeing more calls for routine tree inspections. Warmer October temperatures can extend the growing season for some plants.
Getting lots of people that just want us to come and look at their trees, inspect them, see if there's anything, dead wood, broken limbs, cracked, split, disease, dying, any of that stuff that we need to get out this fall.
Cooler air will send trees into dormancy, minimizing damage from trimming, lawn care. Expert Sean Jones says keep grass shorter so leaves blow through. Homeowners should also reseed now and prepare sprinkler systems for winter by scheduling blowout services. Well, coming up next, the government shutdown continues to disrupt services across the country.
The legal battles over National Guard deployments are heating up. I'm Rebecca Castor with the latest on President Trump's plans to deploy troops to certain cities.
Still no deal to resolve the government shutdown, but there is talk about a possible compromise. And as Doug Lozander reports from Washington this morning, the week-long dispute is already having an impact on air travel.
As both Democrats and Republicans are holding their lines, we're seeing more impacts now from this government shutdown. Planes are still flying, but on the ground, signs of a slowdown, with more cancellations popping up.
Yeah, that would be hard to work for no pay.
Travelers already noticing a shortage of air traffic controllers as more and more call out sick, anticipating delayed paychecks. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned that some may be distracted.
What the consistent message was from these controllers was they're not just now thinking about the airspace and the jobs they have to do in these towers or TRACONs or centers across the country. They're thinking about, am I going to get a paycheck?
After another failed Senate vote, the administration is trying to ratchet up pressure on Democrats to accept a short-term funding deal to reopen the government.
If we had made the right deal, I'd make a deal, sure.
President Trump said he would be open to talks with Democrats about the renewal of what were supposed to be COVID-era Obamacare subsidies.
It's an interesting statement that the president has made, and I think both House and Senate Democrats are clear. We'll sit down.
But the president then included an important condition on Truth Social. I am happy to work with the Democrats on their failed health care policies, he wrote, or anything else. But first, they must allow our government to reopen. And it's possible we could see more votes in the Senate today, but the numbers haven't really changed. Republicans still need a handful of Democrats to sign on to their measure to reopen the government. In Washington, I'm Doug Lozander, Fox News.
A loss for Google in front of the Supreme Court. Justices turned down the company's request to pause a lower court ruling that requires it to make significant changes to its App Store. The High Court's decision is the latest chapter in a long-running legal dispute between Google and the creator of the popular game Fortnite. The maker of Fortnite, Epic Games, sued Google in 2020, claiming it was violating antitrust laws. Embedded secret code in Fortnite allowed players to bypass Google's Play Store and the tech giant's 30% commission to buy the app. Google responded by pulling Fortnite from the store and suing Epic Games in 2020. The holiday shopping season kicks off today for Amazon Prime members. The e-commerce giant is offering early discounts on lots of merchandise like home decor, fashion, and toys. Amazon Prime Big Deal Days last from October 7th through the 8th. President Donald Trump's tariffs have put America's neighbor to the north in a tough economic spot, and on Tuesday, Canada's Prime Minister headed to the White House to seek some relief. Karen Kafa reports from Washington.
Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney came to the White House on Tuesday in an uncomfortable spot, his country's economy slipping and tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump on key Canadian exports to the United States, making the situation worse. Tuesday marked the second time that Carney has come to Washington to meet with Trump since Carney was elected in April.
Let's be clear about the relationship as it stands right now.
We are the second largest trading partner of the United States.
But tariffs imposed on Canadian goods coming over the border into the U.S. are hitting an already struggling economy hard. According to Canadian government data, the unemployment rate hit 7.1% in August, the highest level since May 2016 outside of the pandemic period. Trump has slapped tariffs on cars, steel, and aluminum, key Canadian exports to the United States, and more have been announced on softwood and lumber, among the top goods the United States imports from its northern neighbors. Trump said Tuesday that the close proximity of the two countries creates a trade conflict.
In other countries, they're very far away, and there's no problem. You can compete and you can do. We don't like to compete because we sort of hurt each other when we compete. And so we have a natural conflict. It's a natural business conflict. Nothing wrong with it. And I think we've come a long way over the last few months, actually, in terms of that relationship.
Trump also adding that the U.S. will treat Canada fairly. Canada, the U.S., and Mexico have also started consultations on renewing the trade agreement that was first negotiated by the first Trump administration and launched back in 2020. That agreement is set to expire in 2026. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Coming up next, President Trump considers Insurrection Act as Illinois sues to block federal troops in Chicago. This week's Taco Tuesday is extra special. That's because October 7th is National Taco Day. The longtime favorite meal is served with a variety of items, including beef, chicken, and fish, often topped off with tomatoes, cheese, and olives. National Taco Day used to be celebrated on October 4th, but was adjusted so it would always fall on the first Tuesday in October. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Tensions rise between Washington and state government over federal authority. And Supreme Court justices hear arguments about youth conversion therapy.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
Despite legal challenges, federalized National Guard troops arrived to the streets of Chicago today to help protect federal agents and property. Fox's Rebecca Castor has the details.
After days of clashes between federal agents and anti-ICE protesters in Chicago, the White House is stepping in and federalizing some of the state's National Guard troops. Texas also answering the call to help, with Governor Greg Abbott sending soldiers despite objections from Illinois' governor.
Governor Abbott should stay the hell out of Illinois' business. Donald Trump is using our service members as political props and as pawns in his illegal effort to militarize our nation's cities.
Illinois is suing to stop the deployment of troops, and they're hoping for a similar ruling to one in Oregon, where a federal judge recently shot down President Trump's plans to send National Guard troops to Portland.
With all due respect to that judge, I think her opinion is untethered in reality and in the law. For more than 100 days, night after night after night, the ICE facility has been really under siege.
The White House is appealing that decision, and the president isn't ruling out invoking the Insurrection Act, which allows him to mobilize the military to conduct civilian law enforcement activities under certain circumstances.
We have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up.
Despite both of these states fighting in court, the White House thinks they'll ultimately win, just like they did in California after deploying troops to LA earlier this year. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Today marks the second anniversary of the October 7th attack in Israel. In southern Israel, the Nova Music Festival site is filled with visitors, as well as the portraits of those killed. On October 7th, Hamas militants attacked, killed 1,200 people and took more than 250 hostages. Israel's retaliatory military campaign has killed more than 67,000 Palestinians and left the majority of the 2 million Gazans homeless. Israel says its offenses is aimed against Hamas and that it tries to avoid killing civilians, but that the group hides among the civilian population, an assertion that Hamas denies. In one of the first major cases of its new term, the Supreme Court heard a First Amendment challenge to a Colorado law related to conversion therapy in minors. Fox News senior national correspondent Rich Edson has the latest from Washington.
On the second day of its term, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in a case challenging a Colorado law banning licensed therapists from providing conversion therapy to minors. It centers around Kaylee Childs, a therapist and practicing Christian, who sued the state because she says the ban violates her freedom of speech.
I want what is best for my clients, and often they seek me out because we have a shared faith.
About 20 other states have laws that prohibit offering children therapy to change their sexual orientation or their gender identity.
This law tells them that if they're seeking help in one direction, that licensed mental health professionals and counselors are not available to them.
But Colorado says there's a mountain of evidence to the contrary, that conversion therapy has been linked to serious harm and can cause depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts.
The idea that there could be a First Amendment exemption to this is dangerous, can create a lot of mischief.
The state argues therapy is not just speech, but health care, and should be subjected to regulation.
People hold themselves out as professionals who are operating based on a standard of care that's very different than private conversations about matters that could be of public or scientific concern.
Though some in the court's conservative majority seemed unconvinced. Justice Samuel Alito said the law, quote, looks like blatant viewpoint discrimination. Later this term, the court will consider whether states can ban transgender athletes from competing on girls' school sports teams. At the Supreme Court, Rich Edson, Fox News.
Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. Plus later, Rush announces their return to the road with a tour celebrating the legacy of their late drummer, Neil Peart.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a much cooler day for us today. In fact, most of us 15 to 20 degrees cooler than what we saw yesterday. Everybody's been telling me they're ready for October weather. We got it today, and we're going to have it over the next couple days. Enjoy it, because it's going to heat right back up this weekend. We've had some clouds kind of skirting through the region through the afternoon, evening hours. These are going to break up as we go through the overnight. So let me walk you through time. We're going to go into Wednesday morning. Look at our temps. 50, 49 Nevada, 54 in Grove, 52 in Parsons. So a little chilly to start. By noon, I think most of us are going to be near 70, and I think about 76, 77 degrees. Our atmosphere is fairly dry, so it allows you to warm up pretty quickly as you get into the afternoon hours. All right, so we back down again into lower 50s as we go into Thursday morning. Now, on Thursday morning, we may get a couple random sprinkles or showers, especially on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side. Most of us will be dry, smidge warmer, upper 70s for highs as we go into Thursday afternoon. All right, Thursday night into Friday morning, another weak wave is going to drop in that could give us some scattered light showers. We're not going to get much rain out of that on Thursday and Friday, but we have better chances as we get into next week. So I'm going to let this roll 1 week in advance. A lot of us are going to pick up quarter, half an inch, maybe an inch of rain as we go through the next week. A majority of that will be next Monday and Tuesday. Day planner on your Wednesday, 55 to start, 71 by noon. High temp, 76 degrees. And let's jump forward. Let's go into four-state Friday night high school football. Temperature is fantastic. 75 by kickoff, 68 once we get into the fourth quarter. So no complaints this week with high school football. Reason it's a little cooler, upper level flow, a little northwest flow right out of Canada, right on top of us. And that's going to keep us nice for the next couple days. However, here comes a ridge of high pressure back in. This is going to be late Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that's why the 80s are going to return. I do want you to notice all this mess, the western third of the country. We have storm systems lining up, and we'll start to eject out. So the middle of October is going to be much more active than what we've seen over the past couple weeks. And then this system will push on by, then we kind of reload again the western third of the country. Let me take you into your weekend. So those showers, trying to work through Friday morning. Friday afternoon looks pretty good. Saturday we start to heat back up. So now we're talking mid 80s. Sunday we're talking upper 80s. So toasty, near 90 even. So it does heat back up as we go into the weekend. All right, let's go. 76 tomorrow, 79 Thursday, 82 Friday, 84 Saturday, 86 as we go into Sunday. Sam?
Thanks, Doug. Still ahead, the MIAA basketball media days were held in Kansas City on Monday, with Pitt State and Missouri Southern in attendance. When we return, we'll hear from the Gorillas men's and women's teams as they gear up for the season.
Basketball season is right around the corner, with the Pitt State men's basketball squad playing their first game in less than a month. And after back-to-back winning seasons, this Gorillas squad will feature a lot of new faces this year. Following the 2024-25 season, Pitt State saw key pieces move on, including reigning MIAA Player of the Year Jordan Friesen. Looking at the roster heading into this year, the Gorillas have 10 newcomers to only 8 returners. But this offseason has been more about off the court. Returning players from a year ago, like redshirt sophomore Evan Jackson, have embraced the new faces and took them under their wings to create a strong bond.
We got like 4 or 5 freshmen. I have them come to my crib. I cook for them and all that stuff. It made me kind of feel like a little old, but it's kind of fun to do as well. Like I feel like an uncle role kind of. It's nice to like to show them the culture, how we are in practice, our energy. We go to the football games, volleyball games, how we show like affection to other sports as well. Like really like a family. It makes me happy. Like I smile all the time about it because like I just like feel happy like having everybody together.
Guys like Ev, you know, coming in making it feel like home. You know, coming from Mississippi, you know, I'm a long way from home, so guys like Ed play a big part in just building the team chemistry. And the guys from last year, that are returners, you know, they play a big part in that, making it feel like home.
On the court this season, Pitt State is focused on improving their defense and rebounding. As head coach Jeff Boschee and his staff recruited to fill out the roster, their focus was to add pieces that can make an impact defensively and on the glass.
At the end of the year, you're always recapping what you did well, what you didn't do well, and I thought going into recruiting, you know, that's something that we emphasize with the coaching staff is we've got to get more athletic, we've got to get longer and bigger because we got to address those areas of, you know, defensively, how do we protect the three-point line, how do we do a better job of keeping the basketball in front, how do we collectively guard with 5 guys and then finishing it with a rebound, and then also on the flip side, getting to the offensive glass. And that's something that I feel like my teams in the past have been really good at, is getting to the offensive glass, and I didn't feel like we were great at that last year. So that's something just trying to emphasize this year with these new guys.
The Gorillas opened their season on November 1st in the Division II CCA Tip-Off Classic in St. Joe, Missouri, with a matchup against West Texas A&M. Pitt State women's basketball is coming off a historic season, finishing with the best record in program history and their first ever Division II Final Four appearance. But like the Gorillas men's squad, there's a lot of new surrounding the team this year. Pitt State returns only 2 starters from last year's team, in Harper Schreiner and Macy Mays. With fresh faces taking on new roles this season, the Gorillas are focusing on patience. PSU understands that there will be ups and downs throughout the year, but they also know the potential that this squad has.
There will be hiccups just like any other team, but sticking together I think is the most important thing. Also just embracing it, like embracing the patience and being where your feet are, and just, you know, times are going to be rough, times are going to be really good too. So just embracing the moment and just enjoying the journey.
We've been taking practices a little slower in hopes that it will help us in the long run to make things faster and just get things clicking. This is a very young and very feisty group, and I'm very excited to see what they can do. They just bring a new young life to the program, and I'm really excited.
Despite that focus on patience this season, the high expectations remain the same for the Gorillas. A phrase that the program lives by is that pressure is a privilege, and the team is buying into it, as everyone will need to be ready to step up and ready to make an impact.
It should feel like, okay, it's my turn now. Like, I get that pressure. I'm the one that's going to go take the shot, make the shot, and I get to be the one that it gets credit for it, and as a team as well. And so I think that that's where the pressure is a privilege. We have some kids that need to grow up because of their role, and then we have some kids that are going to have to grow up fast because we need them right now. There's nobody else. So you're going to play, and we need you to grow up fast. So I think the expectations, they want that, and that's where this group of freshmen and transfers, you know, you said you wanted to be a part of it. Here it is, and so take it by the horns and roll. And I think that's where we have leadership that's welcoming those kids in, you know, with Harper and Macy. They know they need them. So there's no animosity. It's like, task at hand, let's get this done, and let's go to work.
Pitt State opens their season on November 14th in the MIAA NSIC Conference Challenge against Northern State and Kearney, Nebraska. That's it for sports. We're back with more after the break.
An iconic band that supposedly played their final show a decade ago is back. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
We have to announce that we've made a decision to go back on tour.
Hi, we're going back on tour.
Rush returns to the road. Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson say the tour will be a celebration of their music and legacy and the life of drummer and lyricist Neil Peart, who died in 2020. Annika Niles will fill in for Peart behind the drums. The tour begins next June at the Kia Forum in Los Angeles, where Rush played its last gig in 2015.
You want one of these? This ought to do. Let's get it!
Two iconic westerns are marking anniversaries. Silverado, starring Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, Kevin Costner, and Danny Glover, is 40 years old. And The Quick and the Dead, starring Sharon Stone, Gene Hackman, and Leonardo DiCaprio, is 30 years old. Both are out today in anniversary limited edition 4K Ultra HD steelbooks.
Governor Bush, strategery.
Not gonna do it. Jim Downey went from the youngest writer at Saturday Night Live to the show's longest-running writer. In between, he wrote many of SNL's classic sketches and won 5 Emmy Awards. Downey wrote that about his influence on the show, features dozens of SNL cast members and writers. The doc debuts October 17th on Peacock. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Up next, a Kansas City family's 80-year wait ends as they lay World War II Sergeant Simon Gerlich to rest. The remains of a Missouri World War II veteran were laid to rest decades after the soldier's death. Nathan Brennan has more on this soldier's story and why his proper burial took so long to take place.
On Sunday morning, friends and family of Sergeant Simon Gerlich were finally able to give their proper goodbyes. Nearly 80 years after his death, he was laid to rest at Sheffield Cemetery in northeast Kansas City.
It's an honor and a privilege, and that's the only way I, myself, can look at it.
Sergeant Gerlich was captured and died as a prisoner of war during World War II. He was accounted for in October of last year, and his remains landed in Kansas City just days ago.
He was my favorite uncle, always.
For decades, Sergeant Gerlich's family had to live with more questions than answers, wondering if they would ever be able to bring him home.
And now I'm off to tears. And they're tears of joy, not tears of sadness.
Thanks to perseverance and generations of hope, Sergeant Gerlich did come home and will now forever lay next to his mother and sisters back in Kansas City.
It means almost everything in the world. And I'm happy. I'm really, really happy.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll leave you with a video of a pair of rare pale raccoon sisters munching on snacks at the Denver Zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.